Michael Misa scored 134 points in this OHL season and was nearly a goal per game. Since 2022, he's been exceptional and led Saginaw throughout this past season. Despite an incredible track record and the ability to reach a new level in his draft year, Misa didn't go number one. The Sharks won't complain. It's another great addition to their stacked prospect pool. What San Jose has now is a center core with the potential to replicate the Edmonton Oilers, top-line center in Macklin Celebrini, top-six winger that can substitute as a center in Will Smith, and an offensive powerhouse center to back the both of them in Michael Misa. The necessary young core to win a championship is essentially established at this point. So today, let's take a look at the fit of Michael Misa in San Jose, why exactly he was their pick, and how that sets San Jose on the path towards finally bringing home a Stanley Cup. Michael Misa is the most NHL-ready player in this draft class. It's easy to see why he rose in draft boards over the year, with a well-rounded game and 6'1" frame. He has all the traits to be a quality first-line center at the NHL level, and he probably won't even need to play a second there for San Jose, considering their talent pool. The Sharks are considered to have one of the best crops of young talent, if not the best. They've been rebuilding for a while now, have missed the playoffs in 6 consecutive seasons, and are finally reaching the point where they could begin to turn the corner. Last year, they found their franchise centerpiece at first overall, and also got a steal in a potential top-pairing defenseman at number 11. The year before that, they grabbed a dynamic, adaptable, playmaking scorer that can slot in their top 6 for the next decade. Even before the 2025 draft, the Sharks were positioned as well as any organization for the future, and this most recent selection of Misa just helps to put them over the top. The San Jose Sharks finished last place in the NHL in 2024-25, limiting them to dropping a maximum of 2 spots to 3rd overall. Maintaining their position in the draft order was still incredibly important, considering how many viewed this year's crop of prospects. By the day of the lottery drawing, many, if not all interested parties, saw Matthew Schaefer as the obvious top pick. More debatable was the second pick, but many still viewed Michael Misa as in a tier of his own, above the then below tier of players ranging from about picks 3 to 8. Because of San Jose's ability to hold that second overall pick, they stayed in what many believed to be that higher tier, and obviously, they agreed that Misa was the correct choice there. We know that Misa has been a high-volume scorer at the OHL level with an NHL-ready frame. What got lost in discussion throughout a lot of the draft year was just how impressive and consistent that high-volume scoring has been. Michael Misa was the 8th player to ever achieve exceptional status. This is an honor prospects receive from the CHL to be allowed to play early, typically at ages 14 or 15, 3+ years away from the date of their NHL draft. Exceptional status is not meant to be a predictor of future NHL success. Despite this, 50% of players who have received exceptional status have gone on to be selected 1st overall in the NHL draft. This is an honor received by players that are typically so exceptional that scouts can see them being the best in their class years before their draft date. The players who have gotten this honor typically go 1st overall, or fall off a little bit throughout their development. Michael Misa did neither, as the only exceptional status CHL player ever to go 2nd overall. Misa may not have shown generational McDavid or Bedard level promise in his OHL career, but he was still absolutely phenomenal all throughout his 3 pre-draft years. In his D-2 year, Misa registered the highest points per game tally in OHL history for a player of that age. In his D-1, he wasn't as historically impressive, but managed the 15th most points of a player all time in that age class, 7th most ever since 2000. In his draft year, though, this season, he vaulted right back to the top of all-time OHL leaderboards, with the most points by a player in their 17-year-old season in 30 years. If production was the only factor that mattered in selecting prospects, the precedent of past years suggests Misa should have went first overall. Obviously, that wasn't enough. So what else is there to be considered in his game? Scouts praise him as a high-end, well-rounded skater. His two-way game has steadily improved throughout the past few seasons, and while there's some debate as to what level he's at defensively, he's viewed as capable and responsible in his own end. His shot, likewise, has improved, particularly into this past season, as he rocketed up from 29 goals to 62. His limitations are only things that serve to hold him back from being the number 1 pick, not as a prospect overall. He may not stick as a center in the NHL, given his face-off numbers aren't particularly great at the OHL level. For the Sharks, that really shouldn't be a problem, as they have their top-line center, and both Misa and Will Smith can be tried in that position as centers that can double as wings. His team's success was also disappointing, as the Saginaw Spirit went out in 5 games. Misa was the 6th highest scorer on his team in those games, being held pointless in 3 of them and missing the final one. If you want to be dramatic, you can say this shows a lack of clutch factor or poor leadership on the Spirit captain. If you want to be more realistic, he had a bad series against an Erie Otters team that was about as strong as they were. The San Jose Sharks are about as ideal of a situation any prospect can sign up for right now. New players get to come in and join the core group of surefire young stars, and build towards taking San Jose to their long-awaited first cup. Any talented, motivated prospect would fit in there. Misa's fit with the Sharks is one that gives him and the roster plenty of time to figure out each other's strengths and fits. In the long term, he could end up on their first or second line, as a center or a winger. The Sharks have lots of time before they're competing, lots of time to figure out who he has the best chemistry with, whether it's Celebrini, Smith, Eklund, or anyone else. All of them will get to play together on the power play, where Misa's surrounded by talented playmakers that can feed him the puck. His development is in no rush, but given his ability and current attributes, this is something we could see as soon as this coming season. Michael Misa had been in large part overlooked and under-discussed for just how great of a season he had this past year. By the time draft season rolled around, everyone recognized his abilities, and he earned the 2nd overall selection in this year's draft. Matthew Schaefer is without a doubt an incredible prospect, but it could easily prove to be a mistake to pass on this guy at 1st overall. With his abilities and the situation he'll be touching down in, expect Misa to make waves when he debuts, whenever that's going to be.